I'm up here today to talk about how our environmental team promotes resilient vegetation communities in stream corridors to reduce long-term maintenance costs and maximize ecological function. When I think about long-term success of a project, I really start to think about my ankle. And a few months ago, I was snowboarding here at Copper Mountain. Now, I usually ride at Loveland, so I wasn't super familiar with the runs, but went with a friend who had a buddy pass. We came out of the trees and got onto a wide open run called Bouncer, and my tracker said I was going 55 miles an hour when I hit a knoll and caught some serious air. Now, that flame icon there shows the top speed of the day. And then when I came to my landing, I didn't stick it, and I crashed really hard. That flag icon indicates the end of the run, or in this case, the end of my season. We called ski patrol, and I was taken to the clinic at the bottom in the toboggan, and a couple days later, I was in my surgery. That surgeon provided me the care throughout the surgery, guiding me through recovery, giving things time to heal, and then assigning physical therapy. And his insights into the procedure make it so that when my ankle is no longer new, it's still going to be strong. And our environmental services team here at the district works in the same way, so that when these projects are no longer new, they're still strong, and we don't have to have another painful surgery. Here is the CT scan of my ankle looking from the rear. Not only did I break my tibia and fibula, I actually shattered them into pieces. And the resulting fix was to use 8 titanium screws and a plate, along with a bone graft from below my knee to repair this damage. And it took a whole surgical team to perform such a complicated surgery. Our understanding of the human body and of surgical process has greatly improved over time, and so has our understanding of stream function. You're probably familiar with this wheel. These are the 5 elements of urban stream function: hydrology, hydraulics, H&H, geomorphology, vegetation, and community values. So in a broad sense, the environmental services team, I think, focuses on the community values and vegetation aspects of urban stream function. Let's get into both of these elements. Beyond flood risk mitigation and safety enhancements, our projects provide exceptional green space and blue space to our communities in an urbanized environment. During the pandemic, I worked for a local government park department, and I saw a huge increase in park use and trail use during the time when businesses were forced to close, people were stuck at home, and I spoke with a lot of folks from the public about how important access to nature is for their mental health. There's a lot of research to understand the effects that nature has on our brains, and scientists hypothesize that because our ancestors evolved in wild spaces and relied on nature for survival, that we have an innate drive to connect with nature. And I know that's true for myself. Using an ecological lens to design and implement a project leads to an increased biodiversity of that system by establishing native plant species that provide quality habitat to many species of wildlife, including birds, pollinators, and all the other critters that call our urban waterways home. The urban heat island effect is a major issue in our cities where concrete, asphalt, and other heat-absorbing materials cause higher temperatures compared to rural areas surrounding them. Green spaces with their vegetation and shaded areas help counteract this effect by providing a cooling shade and promoting evapotranspiration, which is the process where plants release water vapor to cool the air. These projects that we're doing are so cool, literally. During design, I think of this step as the step the surgeon's taking when looking at your imaging and figuring out the best procedure for repairing an injury. Once a project has been identified, MHFD will work with our local governments, landscape architects, engineering firms, ecologists, to develop a plan. And our environmental service team's expertise and experience with these projects allows us to integrate proven ecological insight into that design. Two aspects of our plan design that I believe are critical are seed mix selection and planting selection, as well as the methodologies we're using to put those in the ground. We want to make sure that we are putting the right seed in the right place at the right time in the right way. Topsoil is another key component that, if not managed appropriately during construction, can have serious detriments to establishment of that project. During construction, I think of this as the surgery of the site, and it involves a team of doctors, or in our case, a team of engineering and environmental professionals. And there are important steps in the construction process that are going to ensure the long-term success of that project. And as an environmental services team, we're going to make sure that we hit those markers along the way. We want to make sure that we're going to hit any vegetation establishment windows like seeding, willow staking, and weed control timing. We also want to ensure that the seed bed is prepped properly to ensure that we have a good growing medium for the seed that we're going to put in the ground, as well as any plantings and erosion control measures, or ECMs. And equally important to both of those is ensuring that the seeding and ECM installation that we're doing is going to be done properly. Post-construction, the stage that I'm in, is not complete. The project is still a long way out from being complete. We have a lot of work to do, just like the physical therapy after a surgery. Our team will work with an environmental consultant to develop a vegetation establishment plan. And coming up, you'll hear from Christy Lee Halpin on the adaptive management process for a project along Cherry Creek. Finally, after all is said and done, we'll ensure that any open permits like 404s or stormwater permits get closed out before transitioning the project site to long-term management with our local governments. The life of a project, as we know, begins here, when the stream is in an injured state. This particular stream is Big Dry Creek at South Suburban Golf Course, and you can see the enormous head cut created by the flow over time. Our project partners, or surgical team, if you will, in this case, included South Suburban Parks and Rec, SEMSWA, Icon Engineering, Sand Engineering, Matrix, Valerian, Naranjo, and Western States Reclamation. You can see another example of this injured stream state that needed to be addressed here, where golf carts were literally at risk of being swept away during high flows. And during construction, the site is much like an operating room. It's not always pretty, unless you're a project manager, or construction manager, or engineer, but wait until you see the much stronger final result of this project. This is where part of the surgical team, Western States Reclamation in this case, starts stitching things up, and they're installing the erosion control blanket after doing some seeding. And here's that same project site, all buttoned up, but far from being complete. Western States is still working with Matrix to establish the site and manage it. And here's that same site in its first growing season last year. It still has a lot of time to go before it's complete, but just like with physical therapy, this step takes the longest and also takes patience as you carefully listen to what the body, or in this case, the site, is telling you to do. One of the last things I want to share with you all are some of the highlights of 2024 from our environmental services team. Last year, approximately 262 acres of land were managed for the establishment of native plants over 46 different sites. And another highlight is that to collaborate with our consultants, the E&V team hosted a consultant workshop where around 30 of our favorite people attended, and the intent of it was to achieve more consistency across MHFD projects, clarify expectations for effort and outputs, and to share knowledge with our peers in this industry. The environmental service team also created templates for projects, the vegetation establishment template and the long-term stream corridor management plan template. Both of these templates are going to bring more consistency across all of our projects. So what is the take home here? And what I hope everyone will take home from the story I've shared about my ankle and then the analogies I've drawn with surgery is that having environmental expertise throughout the project is really going to avoid those expensive and painful complications later on. And it's never too early to bring in ecological experts to your projects. Here's a slide from Dave Skudis's presentation last year showing the maintenance cost difference per linear foot of 2 sections along the same Little Dry Creek. And really, it wasn't too long ago that we were still constructing stream projects like the one on the right. But now most of our projects look a lot like the one on the left. And $2 a linear foot is a lot less expensive than $2,000 a linear foot for maintenance, which takes really a different set of expertise and experience to ensure that long-term success of that project. Here is our environmental team all put together. If you haven't stopped by our table out front, please do. We have copies of our 2024 recap as well as other environmental swag, but the interest has been so great, actually, that we've run out of all those noxious weed ID books. Sorry, folks. I can get more, though. But I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have, and thank you all for being here. And big thanks to Mike Sarmento, who's in the middle of this picture, who just retired after being with the district for 40 years. Thank you.